Come aboard and bring along all your hopes and dreams. Together we will find everything that we're looking for. One Piece, one.
Episode 2, based on some of the attire here and my guest here, I think you could imagine the theme for today. So first, before I say anything, let me introduce my second guest, Tommy McIntyre, otherwise known as Big Mac Flax. Tommy,
Thank you for
introduce
having me.
yourself a little bit. Say something.
Hey, so my name is Big Mac Flax. I'm a professional gamer. I'm a professional One Piece historian. And basically, we're here to do some theory crafting and get to the bottom of what the fuck is really going on.
Yes. So, one thing I didn't mention last time is that a big thing that's going to happen here with this podcast is we're going to do certain segments. So I'm calling this segment Talking One Piece. I don't know if that exists anywhere. I hope I'm not stealing a name. I'm not trademarking it. I'm not saying it's mine, but that's what we're calling these episodes, Talking One Piece. There's going to be more of them. You know, we might do tier lists, talk about certain arcs. This one today, though, like Tommy said, is theory discussion, theory craft, and we're just going to talk about some of our own theories and on also some of like the most popular One Piece theories. So Tommy has a list on his screen. I have a list on my screen of just some talking points that we're going to go over. Um, but yeah, so talking One Piece. And as I showed before, oh yeah, that's important now that I'm looking at the shirt. Spoilers. If you haven't watched One Piece, I wouldn't recommend watching the rest of this video. Go watch the 1100 episodes and then come back to us because um, some of these theories are definitely going to say some stuff you don't know. And it's also going to be interesting because I'm caught up in the manga, Tommy's not. So,
Yeah, so it's going to
for
be
those
an
of you,
anime only theory craft
yeah,
instead of.
for those of you watching, where you're going to hear me say certain things and be like, oh, but you know the answer to that. I do know it, Tommy doesn't. So I'm moving forward as if I don't know it, right? So, what's the first thing that we have here? Okay, so let's start with this. This is a great way to start off. First thing on our list is if a straw hat were to die, which one would it be and why? So, Tommy, I'm going to let you start with which one you think it would be, and then give your explanation. When you're ready to pass it, and I'll say mine because I have mine.
Well, besides, I think the obvious, which is Luffy, but I won't get into that too much
Let's say
yet.
non-Luffy, non-Luffy.
Non-Luffy, it would definitely, in my opinion, it would probably fall on either Usopp or I want to say Zoro, just because you could say they sort of teased his death up in Wano when he was fighting King, and the Reaper literally stood above him and was like, "Coming with me, bro. This is it." And so I think it could be Zoro. I would lean more towards Zoro just because we got that crazy scene with the Reaper, but I would also say Usopp has a good chance just because I think I think the only thing that it's gonna take for this man to realize he is a brave warrior of the sea for him to fucking die, basically, because he just has no self confidence in himself. So if that's the only way he achieves his goal in One Piece, every character basically achieves their goal. I can see Usopp being the one to die to fulfill his brave brave warrior of the sea, but I'm gonna lean more towards Zoro, but I'm really leaning towards Luffy.
So
That's a
I'm glad that you mentioned what's it called Usopp because Usopp is the main one that I think is gonna die if one were to die. And going off like the whole brave warrior of the sea, I feel like Usopp is gonna have like a Dressrosa moment where he's the only one the only one standing or the only one that's in a position. Maybe Luffy and Zoro are off fighting like the Gorosei or Shanks or Blackbeard or whoever, and Usopp basically has a choice to make, and he actually, instead of taking the whole series is Usopp the coward, scared of this, scared of that. I feel like one thing that would really close, and honestly, I would not be upset with this. I feel like it would close his story nicely, is for him to do the complete opposite of his whole character. Kind of like a similar series that did this, kind of like what Marvel did with Tony Stark, whereas the whole span of the movies, it was always like Tony Stark is selfish, Tony Stark is self centered. And then he did the absolute complete opposite of that to end his arc off, which was sacrificing himself. Something that the original Iron Man, a lot of people would have said would never do. A lot of people would have said that Captain America would have done it, but no one would have said that Iron Man would have done it. And not trying to get too off track, but I feel like because of Usopp being a coward and that being such a main part of who he is, that this would close his story pretty nicely. Especially if in the process he got some sort of power up, like let's say he used Conqueror's Hockey and was able to beast out and destroy a bunch of people, but it came at the sacrifice of his own life. Um, Actually, I'd like to, it's not on our list, but I want to segue into another theory because you mentioning Zoro
Hmm.
being a potential candidate for death um, brings an interesting theory, which is that Zoro is death itself. I've mentioned this to you before. And one of the main things that people cite, which I agree with, is when he's in Sabaody and he's going towards the Celestial Dragon because he doesn't know. Right before Bonnie tackles him, Basil Hawkins says, they're like, oh, Zoro's gonna die, he's gonna die. And Basil goes, the shadow of death is not cast upon him. Basically, Basil saying he's not gonna die. However, that's interesting wording because some people say, well, the shadow of death is not cast upon him because he is the shadow of death. And it would really fit nicely with all of his movesets too, with him doing all of the demon-esque formations. Like in Eni's lobby I don't remember the name of the move or the demon. I don't know if you remember when he does like the nine.
It's like the nine-headed something. It's
Yeah,
nine-headed some
yeah,
crazy shit.
some crazy shit when he's fighting Kaku. And um, yeah, so that would be really interesting. So I just wanted to mention that theory because that's one that I like. It'd be interesting because it's like a lot of people think of if you take Christianity in it, there's like God and then there's the devil, right? On two opposite spectrums. When you think of it from that, it'd be even crazier for the King of the Pirates pirate crew to have Luffy as the god, which giving Gear 5, he's very comparable to a god. And then his right hand man being the literal embodiment of death, or some may even say a devil or a demon. Two sides of the spectrum, the opposite ends, being the number one and two of the crew. That that would make for a pretty insanely powerful duo.
You can already say they are though, because it's like you can. Luffy is a god at this point. It was confirmed. He is the sun god. The See, and I would love to play on Zoro being like this like devil or whatever, but I just don't like I don't see it happening because I just see it being like so integral to Zoro's character that he is just a dude who just trains like a maniac. You know what I'm saying? He is just him. And like I can't it's like I just can't see Oda doing something like that, but at the same time Oda's whipped out crazier stuff out of his behind, so you never really know. You never know what Oda's crafting, but I would counter it and say maybe like I don't know if this is what you're going for, but maybe like a Grim Reaper esque like character like that, like Zoro just absolutely just represents just death itself. It will be casted on him at some point. I bet that was a foreshadow. I feel like it could definitely be a foreshadow to his death, or it's some crazy shit like you're saying. Who knows, man? That's what I love about One Piece, bro. Like, you truly can never know what the fuck is about to happen next. There are so many curveballs, especially getting into this final saga. Like, it has never been a more perfect time to be a One Piece fan than right now, because it is just like payoff after payoff, but then you're also getting these crazy new plot points, and you're just getting all these new like twists, turns on like just where everybody's at, who's affiliated with who. It's just the charm of One Piece. That was a little sidetrack, but it's just like, man, I just love this series, bro. It can be anything. It can be anything, but it's definitely a cool theory. Sure.
All right. Good answer. Good answer, Steve. All right. Let me segue us into two more. We're going to combine two here. We're going to do next straw hat, if any, to get conquerors, and then also next straw hat, if any, to receive the devil fruit. So you just talked for a little bit, so then I'll start. So basically, what we're going to do is like I'll say both and give like a little explanation, and then you'll say both for you. And I know that you don't think any straw hats are going to get a devil fruit. Just say if you had to pick one. Okay.
No, yeah. If I had to pick one, but then I'm gonna go back into me saying,
Yeah. All right. So I'll start. Conquerors. I mean, I'll say this actually because I would be annoyed if it was someone that's not Usopp. Honestly, just given like Sanji just got like a major like I know everyone would say, oh well, it makes sense Sanji would be next. Um, even though technically power scale, at least bounty wise, Jinbei is stronger than Sanji. So technically he'd be third up, but I'm just saying bounty wise. I know, I know. However, Sanji's got a huge power up with him being like a mutant and basically not being able to be injured and that whole fucking thing. So with that in mind and Usopp receiving nothing, especially with Elbaf looming and how that could be something happening soon, I think basically if this is what I'll say, if they go to Elbaf and Sanji does not yet have conquerors, he's not getting conquerors in that arc. And I'd be annoyed if he did. Instead of like if all of Elbaf went by, Sanji leaves with conquerors and Usopp leaves without it, I'd be frustrated because I actually have had a weird relationship with Usopp as a character where I hated him pretty much up until time skip. I hated him. Um, and he started to grow on me a lot, especially with like God Usopp and Dressrosa. Like that was sick. Kind of similar, Buggy grew on me a lot too as the show went on because I also hated Buggy in the beginning, and now I think he's like A tier or even low, maybe like S minus tier. But that's for a different day. Um,
mm,
so Usopp needs to be the next one to get conquerors. As for the Devil Fruit, I've mentioned this to Tommy before, and I'm going to say it to you all now, whoever it is that's watching. This is a theory that I read about that I now subscribe to, which is Frankie is the next one to get a devil fruit, and the devil fruit that he gets is Kuma's. So basically, the idea is current anime, we know that Kuma is headed somewhere. So the theory goes that Kuma somehow gets to Egghead, where the Straw Hats currently are. And whatever happens, there's a fight, whatever, they leave with Kuma. Kuma's badly injured, whatever happens, he somehow dies, right? His devil fruit is then, because the devil fruits have a will of their own, so the devil fruit wills itself nearby the Straw Hats, right? And Bonnie, just as Luffy and Sabo were passionate about who got Ace's devil fruit when he passed, Bonnie is going to be super passionate about, listen, this is my dad's devil fruit, but Straw Hat should have it. That's how Bonnie's going to be about it. And then Frankie is the choice because of the cyborg relations, right? And also how he's the one that came up with Coup de Burst, which blasts them out of situations. And the theory goes that he gets the Kuma Devil Fruit, and then instead of using Coup de Burst, they get an even more powerful traveling ability, which is the paw slap, like what happens in Sabaody, how Kuma can just blast people wherever he wants. How now Frankie will have that ability instead of Coup de Burst, he can just slap the Sunny and they teleport out, right, to wherever he wants. Um, I actually think that's the most plausible. Other than that, obviously we know the only other one it could be probably would be like Usopp or maybe Nami. I know there's a theory about Nami getting, I don't remember her name, but from Punk Hazard, the lady that had the snow fruit, because that's kind of weather based. Some people, and she died in that arc. So some people say Nami might get that devil fruit because it has like weather powers, but she has Zeus. She doesn't fucking need a devil
Yeah,
fruit.
you don't need that
She
shit.
basically has the Soul fruit, kind of, because she has Zeus. So let me shut up though, because I talked for a while. Tommy, who's
Nah,
getting
it's all good.
conquerors? Who's getting conquerors, and who's getting devil fruit?
Well, next person to get conquerors. Will it be Sanji? Eh, probably not. Honestly, that's my guess at least. I don't think it's gonna be Sanji. I
I'd be
do
annoyed.
think I do think though 100%. I will agree. I think Usopp is probably gonna get conquerors next, just based on that every lie this man has told in the series of One Piece has come true
Yes, I'm very
at
happy
some
you brought
point,
this
at
up.
one or the
Please
other.
continue.
Because we all remember in Wano. I'm gonna keep like backtracking the Wano the most, by the way, because I've like it's been years since I've watched probably up until like Whole Cake. It's probably been like literal friggin' years. So I am caught up in the anime now. Obviously, I wouldn't be here, but it's I'm gonna be quoting more recent stuff because it's just what's really sticking with me. It's what stuck with me. But yeah, like Usopp in Wano when he just basically lies in front of that whole group of people and was just like, I knocked y'all out with my conquerors. It was right after Luffy won Gear 5, right? That's when it happens. Yeah.
No, no, no.
Like,
Actually, I think it might have been when Zoro. I think it was Zoro's conquerors.
oh no,
I'm
I think
pretty
you're
sure
actually right. I think you're
Zoro goes
actually,
conquerors, and it goes through the floor.
yeah. Yeah, because Usopp was on Usopp was on the main floor with everybody when Luffy went Gear 5, right? Yeah, so that would make sense. But honestly, and then there's also the fact that we do know Usopp has hockey. He just doesn't realize he has hockey because if it bringing up God Usopp, best Usopp. Actually, yeah, best Usopp over Soga King. But I mean, who Soga King ain't Usopp? I don't, that was a lie. But
Dude, I don't know, man. Like I went to nod my head, but Soga King is it's just different, bro. That Usopp was also sick. He shot the
the thing,
flag. I mean, that's like a top 10 moment in the whole series.
I would also say the Dressrosa moment can also rival as one of the best moments in the series as well. Not the flag shooting scene,
Wait,
obviously,
are you
because
saying
that's too iconic.
observation hockey or God Usopp?
I'm saying God Usopp, just
Uh,
the
okay.
fact that he knows that he has Usopp. I mean, once Usopp figures out that he has hockey, I think is when he'll unlock Conquerors, and it all just comes down to him realizing he has it because it's been too damn long. I don't know what Oda is cooking with Usopp because, in my opinion, he he hasn't really done shit since Dressrosa, since God Usopp. I that's just my take. I don't really think he's done too much. So it would be nice to see Usopp finally turn the fuck up. Hopefully he doesn't egghead. I would just love to see I just want some good Usopp moments because at the end of the day he's one of my favorite characters and I I really resonate with that man. He's a real one. As of all the Straw Hats, I can resonate with all of them, but Usopp is one of the ones that I just truly fuck with the most because he's just literally one of the most relatable. You are in a sea with all these. You're on the ocean. You're in the sea with all these monsters and behemoths of fucking enemies, and they're just I would be shitting myself too, 100%. But at the end of the day, he stands 10 toes down for his captain. Shout out that one Alabasta scene. That's one of my favorite scenes in the whole show when he says when he I forgot who he was fighting. It's been too damn long. Forgot who Baroque works, but he was basically just telling him, "Don't laugh at my captain's dream. He is gonna be king." And I just think with once he realizes he has the conquerors, once he realizes he has hockey in general, he'll get the conquerors. Is what I'm trying to say. But then for the straw hat, who will get a devil fruit,
Wait, one
Usopp.
second. Before you do that, I want to say something about Usopp before we stop talking about him. Um, I think there's a scene that rivals that Alabasta scene, which is Sabaody the first time when Kizaru is fucking them up. Like he's fucking them up, and Kizaru's like about to fuck up. I don't remember who it was. It was either Robin or Nami or whoever. And Usopp's nearby, and Luffy yells to him. He's like, "Usopp!" And Usopp fucking pulls that shit back at Kizaru, and he's like shaking. He's like, but he put that I got chills just imagining that scene because that was one of the few times where I was like, holy shit! Like Usopp's part of this crew because he
Yeah,
fucking he knew he couldn't do shit. But Luffy asked him to defend a crewmate. You know, someone was like on the ground, and Usopp pulled that fucking slingshot back in Kizaru's face. That is one of my favorite Usopp scenes.
like Usopp just has like one of the like best like bags in One Piece. Like the fact that this dude like is one a top tier shot with or without the observation hockey. Let's be real. He's also always going 10 toes down when it really matters most. Like Usopp is there and he's sticking up for all of his friends, no matter what. He's always going to be there for the Straw Hats, and I think that's like one of the things that resonates with me most with Usopp is just like you may not want to do it, but when the time comes down to and you got to do it, you're gonna fucking do it. You're gonna be a fucking G. You're gonna look sick doing it. But I do think now that we're transitioning to double foods, I would say that yet again, I think it's going to be Usopp. If anyone was going to get a double fruit, I think it will be Usopp, just because that's the only other Straw Hat I can see getting a double fruit. Like, I wouldn't even know what devil fruit he'd get, honestly, because I truly just I don't think that I just don't think another Straw Hat will get a devil fruit. So it's very hard for me to like actually think of one that he would get. But it would have to be like with some sort of like marksmanship or something. I feel like it just has to be something like that. Like I'm trying to think right now. Like I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Imagine he had like a slingshot fruit, and he just like his arms turn into slingshots or some weird shit. Or how about? I mean, she didn't die, but if he had like that gun fruit or whatever that one girl had from Dressrosa, I always thought that could be like one of the most OP devil fruits, just because if you coat those bullets in hockey, I bet they do some serious fucking damage. Especially if Usopp gets that Conqueror's hockey, and he can turn his fucking foot into a fucking cannon, shoot that shit at you, a Conqueror's hockey cannonball straight to your fucking dome. Good luck. I think that would rise him all the way up in the tier One Piece. I would love to see Usopp get a devil fruit because I think it would be so fucking funny. But I just don't think any more Straw Hats will get devil fruits. I'm not saying it won't happen though, because it is One Piece at the end of the day. We went on that rant already. It is One Piece. Anything can happen. It's like life itself.
All right. The next one we have, and honestly, Tommy, I'm just gonna let you take this one because I don't have like anything valuable to say about it. Anything I could say, I would need to address the manga, so I'm not even gonna bother, which is what happened to Law. So I told you already, I still don't know what happened to him, but if I was gonna make guesses, I'd need to use manga theories. So I assume this was one of the points you put in. I assume you have some sort of a theory, so I want to just let you cook real quick. Go ahead.
All right, so Beppo is taking Law. This is where we left off. Law and Beppo are dipping, and Law is telling Beppo, like, yo, please turn back. Beppo's like, nah, we ain't doing that, bro. I think Law is definitely looking for some help to either A, save his crew. I don't think he's gonna jump in the race for the One Piece anymore. I think that's far behind. But I do think that Law is he's gonna attempt to rescue his crew. I don't know where he's gonna like truly gonna go, like after all of this. Like after like Beppo saved them and everything. I don't know where he'll initially go. I do think he still has his devil fruit though, because just like Beppo goes too long and all that shit. So I think he was able to save. And I mean, shit. It's not really like it might be a stupid thing to say, but like he did like obviously he was beat the fuck up because he was fighting Blackbeard, but he still looked like weak within the water when Beppo was swimming with them. So that may be a sign that he still has his devil fruit because Beppo needs to fucking carry him still when he's in the water. But I think he's going to get help from A, maybe someone in Sword, or B, I think he'll go to an Emperor, being Shanks. I don't think he'll run into Luffy until way later into the story, whenever like that true final battle for the One Piece happens. Because Oda said like way back that for this final saga, he's crafting up the craziest like fucking battle royale war arc imaginable with all these characters that have been built up for all these years, and I think that will be the time to insert him, probably along with Luffy's fleet, sort of thing, like right when it all about to go down. So I think he's gonna try and get help from either an Emperor, member of Sword, someone who's not affiliated with the. I mean, not affiliated with the. You know what I mean? Sword, do whatever the fuck they want. Someone with enough resources to help him get his crew back. I think being an Emperor or whoever he goes to, I think that's going to be his goal, like moving forward until he decides to go and join the fight to help Luffy and all of them. Because I feel like he has to be with Luffy to find out what the will of the D is or whatever, the will of D. Because like the only people that we know like truly know what the will of D is was like obviously Roger's crew, and then you had the Gorosei and King Cobra, but not anymore. But yeah, that's as much as I can spitball on it. That's the that's the that's the subpar theory, as you could say. That's the sticks to the theory craft.
I
The
mean,
theory
I would say Cross Guild, who you didn't mention. That's
yeah, bro.
that's where I think Law would end up if he was going to end up anywhere, because I could see him
Low-key.
fitting well in like the dynamic of I don't like you, but I'm going to work with you, because Crocodile, Mihawk, and Buggy's whole dynamic is we don't really fuck with each other, but this is working. So let's just keep doing it. And
And that's how it was with Luffy at first.
yeah, so I feel like exactly. So I feel like he's just going to end up somehow stumbling upon them, because I feel like I could see Buggy making a whole thing out of it. Like, look at you, you lost. And then
Mm-hmm.
him being like, shut the fuck up. Do you want my help or not? My devil fruit is insane. I can help. And then Crocodile and Mihawk being like, he's got a point. We might as well use him if we can use him. I feel like that's happening sooner than him and Shanks team up. I feel like that's more unlikely. Him and Luffy team up. No, they already did it. And then who's left? Blackbeard. That's it. Then we're out of emperors, which
Yeah, we are.
really leads Emperor Buggy always back to this fucker. It also would help with pushing him into the race, because right now they are the weakest, of everybody going after the One Piece. Cross Guild gets soloed by Blackbeard, gets soloed by Shanks, and gets soloed by the Straw Hats. Even with Mihawk on there, I still think they lose. I still think they lose. With all of the Straw Hats fighting at once, fighting the entire Cross Guild, they lose.
Yeah,
So
probably, honestly.
they need some sort of a power up, and really a good way to do that, if Law were to go to them, that
I
would
like
give
this
them
one.
that'd give them an edge. In Ennie's lobby, it's explained how devil fruits actually work and why you can't eat two. Reason being because there's like a devil's soul inside the devil fruit, and when you eat two, the two devil souls fight each other, and then it basically just makes you explode. Like the clashing of those devils inside you, your body can't handle it. However, I think since Blackbeard has a devil fruit that nullifies other devil fruits' power, that he could basically eat another devil fruit and then use the dark fruit to nullify that devil so they don't fight. Basically being able to switch on and off with which one he's using. So using the dark fruit to weaken or neutralize the quake fruit devil, not enough so to turn it off, but enough so to where he could still use it, but not too little to where they'll clash and he'll explode. The only hole in that is that my theory insinuates that he could have unlimited devil fruits, whereas the souls one means he's capped at 3. Um, but I feel like mine is not too bad. I feel like it would make sense. Like if
No, it
Oda
makes
used
sense.
that, I'd understand it.
I think it definitely makes sense because it's like one of the main, like, no pun intended, like gravitational forces of Blackbeard's dark fruit is the fact that he can
Shout out Fujitora.
shout out Fujitora. But it's just kind of like the fact that it nullifies, and it's just like that in and of itself, like people also think that it is the dark fruit, like it is like because we see like when Blackbeard goes to steal Whitebeard's fruit in Marineford, he shrouds it all in the dark fruit. He activates it, so
I
it's
didn't
like
think about that. I didn't think about
it
that. Okay.
definitely has something. I feel like the dark fruit is definitely at play because Blackbeard was also on the hunt for this fruit forever. He did not start his hunt for the One Piece, or like he didn't even really like start like really building up his crew until he got the dark fruit, because it's explained that like he traveled for years and years looking for it. This Blackbeard's been a pirate for 30 years. Like people forget about this shit, bro. Luffy's been a pirate for like 2. And this dude spent like probably close to like 20 years looking for this fruit. He definitely knew the power that was within it. And I also think another theory, I think Shanks also knows what Blackbeard's power is. But we're gonna get into that later with one of the others.
What's up with
But
Shanks?
what's up with Shanks? But I do think that Blackbeard, yes, he has the 3 souls. I mean, the obvious, what you said, how Luffy and Zoro refer to him as they, and obviously the 3 skulls on the pirate flag. But then also, I don't like this was something that I saw on Instagram that really like captivated me because I just thought it was so goddamn interesting, and it really just opened my eyes to this theory, like of Blackbeard, like truly having 3 souls, with the fact that he has different like missing teeth and like different panels and different shots of the anime, like different panels of the manga, different shots of the anime. He has different, like the teeth that he's missing are almost not randomized, but they're just different. Like sometimes when you see him, so it's also thinking like going back on what you were saying, like one soul taking over, or like I don't know how it would work. I feel like Blackbeard's like overall like willpower is just strong enough where he can maintain his personality while being able to swap between them. But I think it I think it's a good theory. I think our theories kind of just like add up together into one big mega theory.
And we also know he has a strong, like you just mentioned, will. He is a D. It's Marshall D. Teach. So we
Hmm.
already know that his will is strong. So I think what you're saying is correct. If he does have three souls, his will is definitely strong enough to have like a main portion of them that fluctuates between the three. So next straw hat, let me name some of the most popular ones right now. Yamato, Vivi, um, Vegapunk or any of his iterations, Katakuri, um, and Bonnie. I think those are like the five. I think I just named five things like the most common that people think. I guess some people no. You couldn't really say Kuma because let's say like he gets back to normal and everything's fine. He's a
On the revolutionary.
revolutionary. He's not going to
Yeah.
join the pirate crew. So I don't know if you have anybody else besides who I just named, but say some shit.
No, I totally agree with the people that you said. I think at some point, like how Luffy has had like these quote unquote like honorary Straw Hat members, I think they're all gonna come into play at some point within this final saga. Like we already
Yeah, for
saw,
sure.
Vivi and like Vivi with the
Wapple.
Birdman newspaper. Yeah. Yeah, Wapple was there too. I
Wapple.
low-key forgot about that. Wapple was there too.
Of course he was.
It's just mhm.
But tell me who you would most like to see. Not, it doesn't even need to be realistic. Most, you'd be like, this is hype.
I say honestly, I would love to see Yamato on the crew. I really thought she was going to join the crew in Wano, but it honestly makes a whole lot of sense why she didn't.
Well, she did
We will.
say, she said she was still open to it later.
No, yeah, but
Very
that's
similar
going to
response
be.
to Jinbei.
I think, and you know when I think that's going to be. I think that's going to be. We're all coming back to this final saga. There's like everybody's going to be in one place at one time for the One Piece, and that is just a perfect time for Yamato to insert herself within the Straw House. Because who knows? Maybe Momonosuke is ready to lead Wano on his own at that point. Because Yamato's main goal is to live a life like Odin. And what did Odin end up doing? Riding with the King of the Pirates. So
That is a great point. And now I'll say mine is way less realistic, but it is, I'm fanboying. Dude, I want it to be Katakuri so badly. Like, that would be my ideal next year. Like Yamato makes sense. She's the most likely of anybody. Her and Bonnie, those two are the most likely to join the crew. Oh, Jesus, I was about to say something from the manga. Whew, that was close. Forget the reasoning I was about to impose. But yeah, they're the most likely. But Katakuri would be my number one just because first off, he's a high value, he's a billion berry bounty, right? So he would fit in that. They would
that's what I
definitely
thought.
be within Straw Hat range bounty wise. You know, he'd be a top player. He'd be right underneath Sanji. I was thinking Jinbei and I combined
Yeah,
Sanjay and Craig.
yeah, that's what I was thinking of, bro. I don't.
Because you don't
That's
know
what
any
I
other
thought.
Sanjays. That's the only one you
Yeah,
know is Sanjay and Craig.
that's the only motherfucker I've
Um,
ever met named
but
Sanjay.
yeah, so just that whole fight, I knew that fight was good because I didn't care about the pacing of that fight was horrible. It's like a 40
Mhm.
episode fight, like something insane, and I barely cared, and that's how you know it was good. And I appreciated his backstory, and his character design is just also awesome. I mean, what a great character design. Just
Besides this part right here.
this part, and he's a donut lover.
It makes the character though. It makes the character
He's
though. If
memorable.
he didn't have the
Nobody,
mouth, he wouldn't have the charm of Katakuri, you know?
yeah.
If he didn't lay on his back and eat them donuts.
And with Big
But
Mom gone, I know Perispero is like vying for the top spot, which would be horrible. But let's say he does get it. That kind of just leaves Katakuri as the same old person. And considering we know that he respects Luffy, there's a chance somewhere. I don't know how it would happen, but there's a chance maybe they have a chance meeting and he somehow finds his way on the crew. It's probably
I
not
will.
happening, but it'd be sick if it did.
No, I would say definitely not joining the crew, but a future ally. I feel there's no way we're done with Katakuri yet, especially with how popular he is. Oda didn't kill him off for a reason. I mean, I know Oda doesn't kill off a lot of characters, but literally one of the reasons he says he doesn't kill off a lot of characters is because half more than half of the characters that he creates are so fucking cool that he wants to keep using them in some way. So I 100% don't think Katakuri's story is over, especially the fact that we did not see him on Whole Cake Island when the shit got fucked up. Katakuri was nowhere to be seen. We saw a lot of the top dogs
Well,
get
he was
taken
in the
down, like
mirror realm. He
Cracker.
was in the mirror realm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we saw a lot of them get taken down, but not Katakuri. So I do think Katakuri is definitely somewhere out there. He's probably plotting his revenge on Blackbeard as we speak, and that's one of Luffy's ops. So it's just like I think they will team up 100%. I think that is gonna happen in the future.
I'll just go through how the theory goes. Basically, Luffy and his crew are going to travel to the moon. There's going to be like a Moon Kingdom arc where they go and they find Eneru, and he has like a whole like kingdom up there, and he's ruling as their god, right? Now his whole thing was about how like gods are at a higher status, and he thinks of himself as a god, and he should be treated better, right? So there's two things that happen. One, Luffy kicks his ass again, and is basically like, he's like, please don't kick my ass. If you spare me in my kingdom, I'll help you. That's one option, which I actually think is less likely. Option two, which I'm going to say now, I think is the better option, which is that Luffy goes Gear 5 and Eneru like stops fighting and is like, wait, you're also a god. And almost like, because he's a pretty self-centered person, I'm not even saying that he'll think that they're on the same playing field, but he might be like, we're both gods, why not work together type of situation, being like, he's never encountered another god. He thinks he is it can almost be humbling to see Gear 5 Luffy and then be like, holy shit, there's another god out there. And Luffy just being like, need your help, whatever, god to god type shit. Oda would need to write it very well for it to not seem corny. But I'd actually prefer that than Luffy just going up there and kick. We know Luffy kicked his ass when Luffy was weak as fuck. This is fucking Skypiea we're talking about. This is one of the first arcs. So right after Jaya. So that Luffy beat him, Gear 5 Luffy would obliterate him. There'd be no Eneru left. So that arc even existing as a theory in and of itself. Because there's certain arcs like Elbaf or Marie Joie or Laptail that are pretty much guaranteed to happen. Right? Like 99%, 0.9%, they're guaranteed. This one, even existing as a theory, but it's one that I actually like a lot, and I wanted to bring it up because I feel like it's not talked about often. But a Moon Kingdom arc would be pretty cool. So if you
That
want to
would
say
be
anything
very
on that, Tommy, please.
no. I think the Moon Kingdom arc would be very very cool. Luffy being the sun god, going to the moon. I just want to know how the fuck they get to the moon. That's a big ass coup de burst, brother. That is one fat coup de burst that they're gonna
Question
have
though,
to hit,
question. I'm cutting you off.
unless Vegapunk is with them.
What if my Kuma Frankie theory is correct? If Frankie gets
Mhm.
Kuma's devil fruit, he could slap him to the moon.
Do they have to? This might be a dumb question, but to slap someone to a different island, would you have to visit that island previously?
That's never been outright said, but I don't think so because I don't think Kuma has visited every single one of those islands.
Yeah, I don't think so either. That's what I was thinking as I was saying it. Like, I don't think he.
Like Ivankov's island, he's definitely been there, I'd say, because he's a revolutionary. But like Chopper got sent to some like prehistoric bird land. Like I
Yeah,
don't why the fuck would Kuma ever be there?
And Usopp was just in a jungle with a bunch
Yeah,
of
in
food.
some jungle and he got fat.
But he got ripped after. The bulk arc was crazy. But the Moon Kingdom thing, I don't know. I honestly don't know if they'll go if Oda will take him to the. I mean, once again, it is One Piece. Anything can fucking happen. We're in a future city right now. What if Vegapunk just decides, like, as they're leaving Egghead, which I do think is going to happen, by the way, Vegapunk will be on the ship with them as they leave Egghead, 100%. No doubt in my mind. I feel like at this point, I mean, I do think the Straw Hats could find it without Vegapunk, but just having Vegapunk on their side just gives them an immense advantage over anybody else who's chasing the One Piece, besides like maybe Shanks for what he knows. But like, I 100% think that if Eneru was going to go back into the story, it would somehow be through Vegapunk in a way. Just because I feel like the only motherfucker who can get anybody to the moon in One Piece, besides maybe Luffy just jumping on the Earth like 5 times and doing a super bounce in Gear 5, feel like he could totally do that. Honestly, he could probably get to the moon if he really wanted to.
I
But
think he could figure it out.
that's what I'm saying.
Or
Like
even like
he will
grabbing the clouds and
slingshot.
climbing there and grabbing
Yeah.
stars.
No, you could just have some lightning come down, just like climb up.
Yeah,
Just
like
climb up.
fucking like monkey bars or some shit.
Monkey D bar.
But Tommy, there's a theory that you said that I want to go over that I didn't even think about. It might have been a theory, but a question. You said, why did Shanks wait until Luffy awakened to go after the One Piece? Because literally, maybe an hour after Luffy awakened, Shanks was like, well, let's go after the One Piece. Something he never wanted to do. He just never wanted to. But then suddenly, they're like, you want to go visit Luffy? He's like, we could, but why don't we just go after the One Piece instead? So tell me what your thoughts are, because I don't fucking know.
Shanks is definitely scheming something. We don't know what it is. I have no clue what it is. We know he's scheming something because one of the obvious key details is he visits the Gorosei and Whole Cake while we're in Whole Cake, and he's talking to them about a specific pirate. I don't think that pirate's Luffy. I actually think that pirate's Blackbeard. And the reason why I think it's Blackbeard is just because I can't see Shanks turning. I'm one of those guys who just like I do think Shanks is probably morally gray to an extent. He doesn't mind getting his hands dirty like Law, but like Law, he will do the right thing when it comes down to it, almost. But I do think Shanks definitely knows too much. He's definitely had that observation, that crazy observation for probably a while, probably when Luffy got the devil fruit. So, as you said earlier, he definitely knew Luffy was about to eat the devil fruit. Let it happen. I just want to know why. Just like it's just really he has to be scheming something. Luffy is definitely playing a part in the One Piece. Like Luffy is an integral part because Joy Boy has been on these poneglyphs since Fishman, and so it's like
Actually, the first time that Joy Boy is mentioned on the Poneglyphs is Skypiea.
oh, you're right.
Robin
Because
says, she literally goes, who's Joy Boy?
yeah,
Yo, chat, fact check me on that. I am fairly certain that Joy Boy is mentioned in Skypiea because I think Roger or Roger tells Odin to write something for him on the poneglyph. I don't remember. There's something like extra on the poneglyph about Joy Boy, like a little message, and I'm pretty sure it's from Roger, or it's from Odin, or it's Roger telling Odin to write something for him. or Joy Boy wrote it himself. It's one of those. It's so foggy in my mind, but I know Skypiea. It's something with Skypiea.
No, because like as like all that Gear 5 shit was happening, like however long ago, I think like a year ago, right? All we were seeing all these tiebacks to Skypiea. And now we're in Egghead and we're seeing all these tiebacks to Ennis Lobby. The next arc, we're not gonna see no. Who knows? Maybe it's just a theme. You know how like Oda is having some of these final saga time skip arcs sort of relate to those early One Piece arcs in a sense to kind of really like tie everything up together because we see I think it was what was it? I think it was the warrior in Skypiea. He like did this like he was like a part of this tale or something. He like he was able to like and it just like resembled Joy Boy in a way. I kind of forget the ins and outs of
You
it
talking
because I
about
saw
Nolan?
not Nolan, the other dude, his friend.
Oh, the red-haired
Trying to,
guy. I
yeah,
don't remember
bro.
his fucking name. I'm
Yeah, I don't
blanking.
remember it,
Dude, that was
but
so long ago.
it was so long ago. That's why I can barely remember it. I called myself a One Piece historian at the beginning of this. If you couldn't
You
tell, I
did.
was fucking lying. Um, I was just doing
Technically,
a
I know
little,
more than you.
yeah, I was just doing a little bit of trolling, but yeah,
I can give a little fun fact
what?
for the viewers, for
Hmm.
all two of you. Just kidding. Hopefully, there's more than that. Um, just to be clear, the only reason I watched One Piece is because of Tommy.
Hell yeah.
Just so all know, Tommy's the reason that I am the One Piece obsessed nerd that I am now. He showed me the way, straw hat and
Hmm.
all.
Hmm. Yes, sir. Best anime ever. Honestly, 100%.
It's one of the best. Might be the best TV show I've ever watched. I won't know until it ends, truly, because if it ends poorly, it won't be the best I've ever watched. But if it ends well, I think it'll be the best TV show I've ever watched because I'm not getting into that right now, though. That's not this episode.
So for our next little theory that we're coming up with, we uh we both were saying freaking I'm looking for it right now. Yeah, will One Piece have an expansive epilogue? And this is something that it might be a little dumb to think it wouldn't happen, but just with the recent trend on how, or not even a recent trend, just how like these long shonens tend to end. It's not always on the best note, but Naruto did a nice epilogue. If Naruto can do a good epilogue, I have full faith that One Piece can do a really good one because at this point we have way too many characters in this story. Way too many characters are going to be not way too many, but a lot of characters are going to be alive by the time this final saga is over that we're going to want to check up on. Like one of the things I really want to see is Usopp going back to Syrup Village and telling Kaya about all of his adventures, but they're real adventures this time. You know, I want to see the Straw Hats achieve their goals in the end. I want to see, like, I just want to peep at what they're doing after.
Everyone should
I do,
achieve their dreams, realistically. It's like the whole
yeah,
point.
the whole
Everybody
point of
has
the
a
show. It
major
will.
dream. Like when they all put their feet on the barrel, remember? Right before they enter
Hmm.
the Grand Line and everybody says their dream.
Yeah,
That's a
like
major
every,
moment. And that's like the epitome of the show.
hmm following your dreams. That is the whole show. So
And
it's like,
achieving them. Because I'll be
doing
damned if these
whatever it
fucks don't
takes.
achieve them. Yeah, the adult themes are insane. And the slavery is mentioned all the time now, too.
Yeah.
Not just mentioned, but slaves exist.
Hmm.
So it's aggressive. It's aggressive for sure. But it does a good
It,
job at displaying that those things are bad, which is good.
no, 100%. Like, just like I like one of my favorite like rises to villainy is Doflamingo. Like in that whole show,
Yeah.
just like how
Celestial
he just
Dragon.
yeah, he did not want to go down there. He doesn't know why the fuck he went down there, and then like down to the real world, I'll say, and just his turn to villainy, and just how like I feel like that like epitomizes like the darkest of the dark within One Piece almost like, and that's just another charm into why I love watching One Piece because yes, it's this show about friends achieving dreams and all that stuff, but it also carries these heavy, borderline disturbing themes almost. Like Emu doing what he did to Lelouch, my jaw was on the floor the whole time. I can't believe like Oda actually did that. Like, 'cause, like actually, like I actually just blew my mind. Animated nuke, and it's just like,
Destroyed an entire island.
mhm.
Just like
but
bang.
but it's also we got so sidetracked. But yes, I do think One Piece will have an expansive epilogue. It
It
needs to.
better.
Luffy will die in the epilogue through because he would expend all of his life force.
I'll be
But
pissed.
I don't know if that counter like I don't know if I feel like Gear 5 doesn't counteract that just because uh just because he gets old all the time. I feel like that's more of a reason why he's probably going to be the one to die, tying back to maybe our first one that we were talking about. I do think that 100% Luffy would die in this epilogue, but it won't be a sad death. It'd be a happy death.
All
It
right.
would be an I am king of the pirates. I did what I
Well,
needed.
of
Be
course.
free, everybody.
Yeah, definitely. So we're at an hour and 5. So let's wrap it up with
Mhm.
this last theory, which is, I'd say, like one of the most popular, if not the most popular theory currently out
Reddit
there.
theory.
Luffy is going to destroy the Red Line, and that's going to unite all of the oceans, and it's going to bring sea level back to normal, showing that the One Piece world is actually one continent. It's all in one piece ah, because space theory goes that right now the sea level is risen, um, and that's like purposely done. Like it used to be one continent, and the islands are just the peaks of that continent, right? And that would explain why Marie-Joie is on the red line, something man-made to change sea level, and why they'd be above it because sea level is consistently rising and the islands are just sinking and sinking. So Marie-Joie is at the top of it. That's how the theory goes. And that the One Piece is Luffy basically using Gear 5 or maybe even a Gear 6, whatever power he gets, to destroy Marie-Joie, destroy the Red Line. Because that does a lot of things. One, the only way he could do that is if he's king of the pirates, right? So his dream achieved. By destroying it, all of the oceans would flood together, creating the All Blue. Sanji's dream achieved. With the All Blue being created and the actual world going back to the way it used to be, Nami would be able to accurately map the world the way it's supposed to be mapped. So her dream achieved. The only way that they could even get to that point is if one, they most definitely, I'd say, need an ancient weapon, which Frankie would have to build. So, like for example, Pluton. So Frankie's dream achieved, and then Robin would
Forgot
have
all
to
about the ancient weapons for a second, honestly.
Robin
Like
would have to
they,
know everything.
yeah,
So her dream would be achieved. Um, who does that leave? Uh, it doesn't even matter. A lot of dreams being achieved here. And then also, Fishman Island geographically is located like right underneath Marie Joie, and it's prophesized in Fishman Island art that Luffy's going to destroy Fishman Island. So the idea is that when Luffy destroys the Red Line, he'll accidentally also be destroying Fishman Island, if not from the rubble, if from how the oceans are going to drastically change. It's going to get destroyed, but that would ultimately be a good thing because the fishmen would have to come to the surface and where they'd be accepted with the idea of a happy ending. They'd be accepted with everybody
Jinbei's
else.
gold.
Um,
Jinbei's gold right there.
yeah. So all of that would come together, and those are like all the different little points. Oh, also, Laboon would be free from Reverse Mountain. So he'd finally be able to be like back in the normal ocean, and then obviously he'd get to meet Brooke again, so Brooke's arc is complete as well. Um, so yeah, a lot of loose ends would be tied up here. The One Piece is the continent, everybody's dreams getting solved, Marie Joie being and the Celestial Dragons being destroyed. Um, it seems like all of it would come together quite nicely. So I just spoke for like 3 or 4 minutes, Tommy. I'll give you the opportunity now to say whatever you want about it. I
No,
very loosely
that
explained the theory. If you need it more expansively, I'm not taking credit. You can find the whole thing on Reddit. It's impressive. So
no, yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite theories that I've read up on One Piece. Is probably one of the more realistic ones. Do I feel like it's I don't like just because it's like I feel like every theory we come up with in One Piece is just not gonna happen. So it's just like the fact that this theory is so popular, like I can just picture Oda just like being like, nah, all right, scrap it. But I do think like honestly it would all like truly start to make sense if Luffy destroying the Red Line itself is the One Piece and uniting the world. Because Luffy, like besides being like obviously King of the Pirates. What does King of the Pirates mean for Luffy being the freest man in the world? And he can grant everybody that freedom, destroying the red line. Uh, I do think it's definitely one of those theories that is going to be talked about for a long, 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 long time. Probably till we can map how it's truly going to end. I feel like that is probably going to be the most popular theory on how One Piece will end. And it's personally one of my favorites. It's better than anything I've ever thought of because I'm a fucking idiot. But
I think this is the best one
shout
that
out
we've
these One
said.
Piece historians to give us this insight, you know?
Yeah, yeah, this is the best one that I've ever read or heard of or come up with. That's for sure.
Yeah, man.
All right, so guys, hour and 10. Tommy, just so you know, is going to be editing this one. Um, so it should end up being um, shorter than that. Tommy, I would say, shorter than an hour is okay, but if you're going to do shorter than an hour, make it between 50 and like 50 would be the shortest I want it. I want all of
All right.
these episodes to be about an hour. I doubt you'd cut out 20 minutes though. I feel like more likely you'll cut out the 10 minutes to make it an hour. But yeah, so shout out Tommy for editing. Shout out Tommy as our second guest.
Hell yeah. Thanks for
Um,
having me, bro.
if there's anyone I was going to talk about One Piece with, it'd be you first and foremost. I do want to get you, me, Dylan, Grant, Jack, like get like all of us on a call to have like a 5-person discussion. And those people I just named are other people that we know watch the show. And also, 2 of them I named are also caught up in the manga, so that'd be interesting. Um, but I'm never going to do a manga episode because I want my friends to be able to watch this, and so I'm not going to put spoilers for them. So that will never happen until they read. So
Make sure you watch the anime. I mean, it's the end of the episode. But you should have watched the anime if you're here.
yes, if you watch this entire thing and you didn't watch the anime, I hope bare minimum we convinced you to watch it by the fact we were able to just talk about it for an hour and actually not even be able to get through everything we wanted to talk about. That's how expansive this show is. But let me wrap it up. I'll say I don't have like some way to end, but I'll say thank you guys for watching. More content's coming. We're gonna do things like this. This is called Talking One Piece. Every episode that's about One Piece will be called Talking One Piece. That's like the name of I don't know what you'd call it,
Series.
yeah, the series, the podcast series. There's going to be like little podcast series. There's going to be miscellaneous episodes. Those are just normal internet safe space, but you know what it is. It's the internet safe space. Our vibe here is you can talk about whatever, you can say whatever, and I may not always agree with what your theories are, what you have to say, but at the end of the day, you can say them here and it's all right. That's the whole point. Um, we can also give a shout out to Tommy because he's the reason that this podcast has this name. He said it. He said internet safe space casually about my Instagram. And I'm not going to get into that right now. That's for a later
Don't get
date.
into that lore.
I'm not getting into that right now. That lore is insane. But so shout out Tommy for helping with the name. Um, my name is Anthony DePersio. I'm your host. Tommy McIntyre, Big Mac Flax is our guest. And yeah, we'll see you in episode whatever. I don't even know what number this is going to be. I don't know anything. I don't even have a mic. I don't have a studio. I don't have equipment. We're just raw dogging it. One Piece is a
We
great
are.
show.
This is
We're done.
Dog,
Peace.
the raw dog of podcasts.